Looks like we're not live on YouTube at the moment. So just gonna try and get live on YouTube. Hopefully it will be coming up soon.
Hopefully.
It's a bit of a mess tonight, but that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I feel like
Um,
we've had technical difficulties yesterday and today.
yes. Well, we are now live on YouTube as well as Twitch and all of these other places. So hello everyone
Yay!
and welcome to Rob as a Podcast. I'm your host filling in for Rob Sesternino, Taran Armstrong, and once again with me tonight is Melissa Denny. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm good again.
There we go.
I'm not going to repeat everything I said because I don't remember it, but I did talk about the comics and I'm excited to talk about them with you.
Yes, we finally got to see the comic Veto. It was pretty fun. But we've got an episode to talk about. It's mostly talking about this Veto stuff, and kind of starting to set us up for the future a little bit. Looking forward to the double eviction tomorrow night, so that should be fun. But I am here. Rob is dealing with some family stuff at the moment, so I am filling in tonight. And let's talk about this episode, Melissa.
Yeah.
What did you think? It's pretty good. It's okay.
I mean, honestly, for not having much to talk about or, not much to really have on the episode, it was pretty good. I mean, relatively. I guess I liked this episode more than I liked the most recent episode on Sunday with the proposal because it was like, that one I just felt like there wasn't really anything to do with these contestants. It was just like other things. This at least you got to see, their home videos. And normally I don't really care at all about the home videos, but I really liked them this time. It like made me a little emotional seeing them all cry and JC's especially.
Yeah, I will say it was kind of emotional a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's just I'm very used to the live feed update style, so let's just talk about the episode in chronological order, see how that goes. We'll have some. This is a live feed update version of a recap here.
Yeah.
We started the episode Kaycee saying she's staying loyal to level 6, riding it out to final 4. That's kind of the theme of the episode, is that Kaycee really wants to stay loyal to the 4, while Tyler might have some other ideas. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic throughout the episode.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear Tyler say a bunch of times, really like honestly more than once. He would say, "I need to win this veto so I can change the nominations and really shake things up." And I'm not so sure how much of that was actually he was going to use the veto and shake things up, or them in the DR just being like, "Say something that'll, you know, make us think you might make a big move this week." It's hard to tell because I feel like normally we can take the diary room sessions as, gospel, but with production kind of feeding people certain lines, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I did get a sense that this is a move Tyler wanted to make, but I don't know if he really. I think he was thinking about it, but who knows if he really would have.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're not going to find out. But Sam, see, she said she's nominated by her friend. She would like to lose her stuff, but she's not going to because Kaycee promised that she'd be safe. So she's going to remain calm for now.
Yes, of course she is. It's like, honestly, it reminds me of Cody Calafiore when he was always like,
I'm going to call
you
him
know,
out.
I'm going to call him out. I'm going to confront him. I'm going to pop off or whatever. And Sam just is all talk. And she's always constantly on the verge of, going crazy, but she's not going to do it. And, one of these days I just want to see it. But it might be a little too crazy.
Yeah, we've got what looks to be Ken Clark in the chat here, Kaycee's mom or Kaycee's dad, sorry, uh, asking if we liked his video.
It was a great video. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I was trying to determine who looked the most like Kaycee, and I couldn't pick it out. Does she have twin brothers?
I couldn't. They definitely looked very similar.
They looked very similar.
Yeah. So it's possible. Maybe Ken will let us know. But thank you for joining us, Ken. So Haleigh says it would be very helpful if Sam lost her cool because she needs somebody to be a bigger target than her. And this is something that Brent talked about last night on the roundtable, that Haleigh should be trying to cause Sam to freak out, and then maybe that would help her.
Well, it's interesting that she said that in the DR, but then has literally seemingly done nothing to make Sam kind of go nuts this week. I'm surprised that she hasn't tried anything, because I honestly thought that she wasn't even thinking that way. I thought Haleigh just didn't register as a possible strategy with her, and instead she talks about it in the DR but doesn't do anything about it. So she does recognize that that's a viable strategy. She's just not really doing anything with it.
Yeah, I want to see like Haleigh like whispering in Sam's ear, like, they're out to get you. They're actually snakes. Do you hear them rattle? But unfortunately, we haven't seen any of that quite yet.
Yeah, unfortunately. That might actually go crazy if that were to happen.
It's possible. Brett and JC are gonna have a little bit of a segment here. Brett wants to know: Does it look better when I slick back my hair, JC? So, what do you think? You look good always, babe. Don't worry.
I feel like all the little filler segments are always Brett and JC.
Well,
I haven't really.
It's not only is it Brett and JC, but like this whole season, it's been JC and his big dumb puppet. Because this used to be JC and Fessy.
Yeah, totally. I'm surprised that they haven't been able to find one funny thing that someone else has done. I don't think I've ever seen Tyler in a segment like that, except for the hair. But other than that, I don't remember. Yeah. Oh my god!
I look like a female.
The biggest reaction to it wasn't even a haircut. It was just straightening the hair. It goes back, It's
the most emotion we saw from Tyler all season long was when his hair got straightened.
Yeah, even more so than when he saw his dad's or his mom's message.
So they're worried about Sam freaking out because they want to make sure that Haleigh goes home, but they're also concerned about Haleigh or Sam winning the veto, because that would mean one of them goes up on the block, and by one of them, Brett means JC, because obviously Brett is safe because of level 6, or so he thinks, but either way, they both want the nominations to remain the same here.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of the consensus all around, is like, let's just keep the nominations the same. And honestly, if Sam won the veto, she probably would have done the same thing. Just like, let's just keep everything the same, which is just very boring. But, that's the way it is some weeks.
Yeah. Most of these segments are just talking about Tyler and Kaycee are also going to talk. We have to win the veto. If unfortunately, if Haleigh or Sam wins, then we'll be putting JC up on the block as a replacement. But things are about to get crazy. It's the calm before it gets crazy, says Tyler.
Yeah, I guess so, but not quite. I don't know. I just feel like it's still going to be calm for a little bit. Maybe tomorrow it might get a little exciting. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's episode, that's for sure.
Should be fun. We then get some videos from home, starting with Angela, her parents sending her their love. They miss her. She's crying in the diary room.
Yeah, I've liked Angela a lot in this segment. Not that I don't normally like Angela, but I liked when she got emotional. I liked when she, had tears in her eyes, talking about her family. And I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, I think especially it worked well with the fact that we got the package on Sunday night about her family and her story growing up, and what her family means to her. So that was nice. Brett's mom and sisters are gonna come on, and they're gonna tell him that he's kept them on the edge of their seats each week, and they can smell him from there. And
yeah,
these little shits.
He didn't quite like that one, but it was very apropos for Brett.
They think they're funny like me, but they're not that funny.
He always has this sort of weird yell in the diary room that's not quite a yell, but it's just like, I think that you are talking about me. It's
This is my diary room voice, guys.
It was funny because when he was hosting the competition, I noticed that anytime he'd be like saying something that Big Brother was telling him to say, he'd be like, "Oh man, Kaycee's at the thing. She's going." And then he was like, "Man, it's really raining out here," or whatever he said, and just totally changed his voice. And they played it on the show and like right next to each other, and it was so different. It was very strange to see the juxtaposition.
Roy Thingamajig in the chat says it's his bro voice. It's how he talks to Winston.
I guess that's the way bros speak these days. I don't know.
It's secret communication. Anytime Brett talks in his bro voice, Winston perks up at home. Oh, Brett's talking about
There's
me.
my buddy. Yeah. There's my
bro. So he says when he's getting home, his sisters are getting a good old-fashioned noogie.
Yeah, I was like, nuggie? But I feel like he did say it weird.
Yeah, well, is there a non-weird a way to say noogie? It's not a good word, I feel like.
Yeah, not great.
It just feels weird to say.
My sisters are getting a good old-fashioned noogie.
Yeah, Riff Raff in the chat's like, now Brett's in the diary room saying, Taran and Melissa, they think they're so funny, but they're not funny.
I'm the funny one.
Sam's parents and brother are gonna send her a message. They love her. She's losing it, but she says she feels so much better. It was a great comfort to her to be able to see her family. Although by the end of the episode, she's gonna be back to her old ways.
Yes. Did they say something about like that it's everything they would expect from her or something like that, or someone said that about? Tyler said that about her family.
Tyler was like, "Oh,
right?
that's your brother looks exactly like how I thought he did." And then JC was like, "He looks just like you, but with a mustache," something like that.
Okay, yeah, I remember being like, "That's a strange comment." The JC comment, like, I didn't think he looked like her with a mustache. I don't know. I feel like there's more to it than just the mustache, but okay.
Yeah. So Tyler's gonna get a message from his parents. They say it's been fun watching him. He's made them proud there in their hometown, and he says he misses his dad more than anything. He gets all his strength from his dad. Yeah. Oh man. Tyler has a distinct way of crying in the diary room, which is full of like he's fighting it all the way through.
Oh man!
No crying!
Putting his head between his legs so you can't see him and getting angry at himself for crying. But yeah, no, that was sweet. I started to tear up. I mean, I started to tear up on Sam's, and then I don't even know why, just because she was like tearing up. I cry when I see people cry. It's like when people throw up when they see people throw up. I do that as well. But crying thing.
Nobody cried during a podcast. It'll be a
huge
mess.
Don't cry during the podcast. Don't throw up during the podcast. Okay. But yeah, so when I saw Tyler's, it made me sad. It made me emotional. I felt, that's so rough, to lose someone. So, yeah, I mean, even though Tyler's kind of goofy when he like tries not to cry, it was a sweet moment.
Yeah. So Kaycee's dad, Mr. Clark here in the chat, is going to send a message with her brothers. He says she's giving them all peanut allergies. He calls her Peanut. Kaycee, of course, is going to go, "Let's go," as they do.
Let's go.
Let's go. And she said, "Oh my God, my dad is going to call me Peanut for the rest of my life. What have I done?"
Yeah, that was great. When he first said Peanut, I was like, "Oh, so that's like a family nickname." And then I was like, "Oh, okay, no, she's not. That's not a family nickname. She's not happy about that."
Yes, good. Anytime the family is able to reference something that's mostly on the feeds, props to them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I always think it's impressive if they use like a catchphrase, or they, mention something that they've been doing on the feeds or whatever. I think it's cute to tie it back in, and it shows that they actually care and are watching and are paying attention and aren't just like, "Hi, good luck, love you, bye." It's more entertaining for us as well.
Yes. So then we get a message from JC's friend who says no matter what happens, he's always been a winner in his eyes. And this is the one that broke me. I was not expecting it. JC in the diary room says, it's weird being the only one to not see my family. He does not have a good relationship with his family. Kaycee is so lucky to have such a supportive family. With what she's been through, and
that was so heartbreaking when he said, even Kaycee has people there supporting her, and it's for him to see that what I'm trying to say is that for him to see that other people in a similar situation to him have that support and have that good, family backing them, it's got to be so hard to see that you don't have that, and that was really sad. I mean, people can say, JC's all problematic, obviously, all that stuff, but that's heartbreaking. That's sad, and it really got to me when I saw that.
Yeah, especially somebody like JC, who is normally such a caricature, to see such a human side, and he's tearing up, saying, knowing no matter what you do, it's never gonna be enough. It's hard to even talk about right now. It's really got to me.
And me too. Yeah. It totally did. That was really emotional, and I also love the way the producers did it with, how. I just liked how they had him sitting back in the chair, and not to get we're talking about the production of it, but the fact that they made it more real. They made it that he's just sitting there talking. It's not okay, I'm JC and I'm doing this and that. It's so different. It's such a contrast to the way that JC usually is in the DR. And so it just seemed like we were getting a glimpse into this raw DR session where he's just talking. It reminds me of some of the really great DRs we've had, like Zach in BB16, when he's just why don't we give him the money? I'm wasting my time here. That felt raw and real. And I like when they show DRs like that, rather than those, overly enthusiastic, overly produced, things where they're yelling at the camera, these rehearsed lines.
Yeah, it was very raw, and very sad, very sad. So heart goes out to JC for that situation. But we're finally gonna get to hear from Haleigh's parents as well. They're holding the cat Scarlet, I believe, and her dad says it's about time for you to come home.
That's so sad.
Didn't know if that was a dig or.
That's so sad. Everybody else is keep going. You're almost there. You've got this. And hers is all right, we'll see you home soon. It's ugh.
Yeah, it's not looking good for you.
Yeah, that can't be a good sign when your own family's oh, bye, see you soon.
She said she was starting to burn out, but it's a new day. She's gonna give it all that she's got. She's gonna make a run for this.
Yeah. I'm glad that she still wants to fight. I always hate when people just give up. Even if it seems hopeless, I'd prefer them to keep fighting till the bitter end. So. Yes.
So then we're gonna get the true JC and Brett segment here, about how they're gonna share some grapes together outside, and JC says, I used to have my big dumb puppet Faysal, but he got out of control, so I had to go bye to him, and so now I have new showmans in the house with Brett, and it's #JBrett.
Yeah, they're apparently BFFs now. I don't know. It's interesting how production seems to be focusing a lot on these JC storylines. I mean, honestly, are they trying to is he their front runner for America's Favorite Player? Like, I mean, is that what you're getting from this? Because I feel like every episode we get a silly JC segment. Now we have an emotional JC segment where we see his backstory. We see his like fight in the game. We see his strategy. Like, I mean, it seems like they're really pushing for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for a long time, JC has been their go-to in terms of he plays ball with them in the diary room. He gives entertaining stuff, and he's easy to build a storyline around because he talks about being the puppet master in the diary room, and he has been a big part of a lot of the strategy. And now I do feel like this in particular is setting up some important stuff revolving around the JC and Brett of it all, and how Tyler is starting to get a little worried about that, and how that might play into the potential veto and future scenarios as well. So very important that because we haven't really seen on the show so far that JC and Brett are really coming together. So it might without this segment, the TV viewers might have been a little blindsided by how close they've actually become.
Yeah, that is true. Because they really just focused on his friendship with Fessy. And then after Fessy left, it was like, well, what do we do with JC? Oh, I know. We'll do a hula hoop segment. And they didn't really focus on him in any other capacity. So it is good that they're, setting passable double eviction storylines up. And I feel like even tomorrow's episode, I think, will help solidify kind of what's been going on and mulling around the house guest's mind to possibly influence the double eviction.
Yeah, this episode felt a lot more focused than the Sunday one, obviously. It feels like they actually have an end goal in mind. They have some material to work with, they feel like, and so it seems like they're working toward that. And nothing really felt too out of place to me in this episode. But they do, JC says it's like having a little brother in the house with Brett. He points out his patchy beard. That Brett's insecure about it. So now we know how to get to him. when he's given us noogies.
Yeah, now we know. Now we know how to get Brett. Talk about his patchy beard.
Brett says he can't imagine life not being friends with JC. He's the only other ball of energy in the house, and if he goes, it's just Brett annoying everyone.
I was kind of surprised when Brett said that. When he said, like, I can't imagine not being friends with him. Like, I didn't think they were that close, and if anything, I kind of thought that it was a lot more game focused than it was truly like a friendship. But I liked when he said that. It shows that there's really a bond there. So
yeah, I didn't think they actually cared that much about each other, but they really are buddies. Honestly, more so than I think JC cared about Fessy. I don't think JC really cared all that much for Fessy on a personal level, but I think he does like Brett.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that, if honestly, he hasn't really said the same sort of mean stuff about Brett that he was saying about Fessy in the diary room. So I think that's pretty telling.
Yeah. But they do both say when the time comes, they are prepared to cut each other, which was a great way to end this segment.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. That's the key, is you have to be willing and able to cut your friends in the game. And like, the idea that they're willing to do whatever it takes to win, that's so important. So I'm glad they're both, even though they both, can have fun together and have a good time and they like each other, they're still in game mode. And I like that and I appreciate it.
Yes. So we're then going to get the veto pick here. Tyler and Angela's names are drawn. Sam is going to get house guest choice, and she chooses Brett over JC. She says she knows Brett will have her back if he wins the veto. So that's going on there. Then we're going to get JC campaigning to Tyler. He says, the veto, if Haleigh or Sam win the veto, then Brett should be the one that goes up on the block. So immediately we're getting the betrayal.
They really didn't leave much turnaround time there. It was just like, we're BFFs, but if it comes to it, I'm going to cut him. I'm cutting him now. All right, he's dead to me. It's like, whoa, okay. They couldn't even last like a commercial break, essentially.
Yes, he says he cannot risk going up on the block, so he wants to make Tyler suspicious of Brett. And then Tyler says in the diary room, I am suspicious of Brett.
What Kaycee does works.
Yeah,
It's surprising. I mean, when we started the season, I was like, no one is going to listen to this guy because he was running around, telling people certain things and making up stories. And it was just like, okay, this guy has absolutely no credibility. There's no way he's lasting longer than like a couple weeks with the way he's playing. And it somehow, some way, it whatever he's doing is working.
Yeah, I will also say I have no idea what Tyler was thinking in this conversation. Why is he popping zits during a conversation that might be on television?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I'm a lot of Tyler's diary room sessions. I'm struggling to know what he's actually feeling, what if he's really truly saying what he feels and his strategy, or if he's saying stuff to like set up the next episode or saying stuff to set up a possible move. And I wish he would be a little more transparent with what he's trying to do. I mean, it's possible that production is just saying like, okay, set up the next segment by saying like, I'm a little nervous about this person or whatever. But maybe he really believes the stuff he's saying. I just feel like I can't get a real good, true read on Tyler right now. In the beginning, I felt like I was able to when he was talking about Kaitlyn and being super harsh towards her and like, saying, oh, she's bad for my game and all this stuff. I felt like I could really listen to his diary rooms and get a true sense of what he's feeling and thinking in terms of his strategy. And now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I got the sense that, Tyler had been dropping hints to Kaycee, and we're going to see that a little bit later as well, that, maybe Brett should not be trusted. Weeks ago, he talked about cutting Brett very, very early. He talked about that to JC. He said Brett is the first one to go. And even to us in the diary room weeks ago, he talked about down to the final three, it's going to be Kaycee and JC. Those are his final, which obviously indicates that he plans on cutting Brett somewhere along the way, as well as Angela. So I do think this has been his plan all along. Whether or not, again, he was really like prepared to make the move, or whether or not he was capable of making the move as early as this week prior to the double eviction, who knows? But I do think he was testing the waters with Kaycee multiple times throughout the week to see if she was maybe willing to throw Brett up there. Who knows? Talking about this, this move. But as we saw from the top of the episode, Kaycee is saying, no, I'm loyal to level 6. We're going down to final 4. That's how it's going to work. That's just the way things are going to go now for Tyler. He does say that he is sick of JC trying to get him to go after Angela and Kaycee. It only makes him want JC to be the replacement nominee even more if this happens, if he's not able to make the other move happen.
Yeah, which I don't quite understand, but it's interesting that I feel like Tyler wants JC to kind of go along with what he says and maybe throw some ideas out there, but not to push too hard. I feel like when JC pushes too hard, and that's like JC's favorite thing to do, is like push too hard. Because he pushes hard with the Angela like thing, he pushes hard with the Brett thing, and he just doesn't let up. And I feel like Tyler is like a kid with his parents when they're like pushing you so hard to do something or to stay away from something. It's like you want to do the opposite of what they're telling you to do. And I feel like that's the way Tyler is like the more JC pushes, the more Tyler withdraws and wants to, not be with JC and not do what JC is saying. So I feel like JC doesn't realize that. He needs to kind of like back off sometimes with Tyler and kind of let Tyler come to his own realization about these things. Like maybe drop some hints, but then let it fester in his own self. Like how Derek used to do in Big Brother 16. I felt like Derek would always, throw these little hints out there or talk with a person, not push any agenda, but just talk with them and then get them to believe that they are the ones coming up with your own agenda. And you being like, look, I'll just do whatever you want to do. I respect you. I want to do what you want, and have them want to do what you want, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, Tyler and JC, they've been playing this like cat and mouse game for a while of trying to use each other and manipulate each other toward their own ends, but obviously, since JC is not winning any of these competitions, Tyler is kind of getting the best of him at the moment. But let's get into this comic, Veto. We finally got the comics. They've changed this up a bit, which is why we're gonna see much faster times than we normally would. Though Kaycee's still obviously very impressive in comparison to the rest. But instead of the normal you look at the thing and then you try to put all the pieces together, it's a 1-to-1 choice every time. So you have a 50-50 shot of getting it right for every question. So it's gonna be a lot faster. It's considerably easier to get through this one, which I feel like this worked better. I know some people are down on it because it was so much easier, but I feel like visually it works better because we know the correct answer as they're going along. It's more of like an obstacle coursey kind of thing, so it's more visual in terms of the action that's going on. They're punching the thing down instead of like hanging whatever it was that they were doing before. So I like the changes.
Yeah, I feel like at first I was like, no, I don't like this at all. This is terrible. But also like I hate change. So that's partially what it is. But yeah, I was like, what? Where's the zip line? This is too easy. I don't like it. They only have to pick like between 4 different things. Like that's nothing. But I did like when they would punch them like they're a real superhero and it looked like they were really fighting crime. I liked it, I feel like visually it was more entertaining to watch, I guess, because you got to see each individual person go through the course and put their own spin on it. I mean, Brett broke the course. He broke Winston. So that was pretty funny to see. And miraculously, he was healed in the next clip. But I feel like with the zipline one, you kind of get a little bit of humor with like them using the zipline for the first time because usually they're pretty bad at it. But then it's just kind of like, okay, they're going to go back up. They're going to do the zipline. They're going to just watch it and like slowly go across and then run. And you can't really tell what's going on. You can't really tell who's doing a good job or who's picking the right answers, like you said. So overall, visually, it was more entertaining to watch this one, although it was way easier. I mean, because with the previous version, you had to look at the backgrounds too. And this one, you just had to look at the people. So there weren't as many possible little small changes that you wouldn't notice. So it seemed way easier. And I also didn't like that they didn't involve all of the comics. They only had some of the people up there. Whereas I like that with the original version, they had to do each comic. So if there would be a way to incorporate all the different comics rather than just showing them on the screen in the beginning, I feel like I would like it more.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done more choices, and they could have incorporated the background in the cutouts. It could just be a square cutout. So I think there are ways to make this easier. Honestly, I feel like the thing that kind of failed in the portrayal of this competition was that it was always going to be incredibly difficult to portray it as anywhere near close because Kaycee got it on her first try in 2 minutes, and Haleigh, the person that we're building up as like the only person that could really screw this up, took over like almost 19 minutes. So it's like it's hard to get any real tension because you can't show more than one run of really anybody without immediately letting you know that, okay, well, this didn't work out. So
yeah, unless Kaycee took like 6 minutes to watch the comics in the beginning. I mean, that would be the only way that someone doing more than one run could possibly have lost to Kaycee.
Exactly.
But they didn't even show Kaycee finish the run.
Well,
Everyone else got like a hit on the buzzer, and she didn't get a hit.
Well, not everyone got a hit. In fact, I think only a couple of people hit the buzzer with a correct answer. But I guess like that's sort of what I'm saying, where it's like they have to sort of just like be like, no, well, we're not even going to show you one successful run from anybody because that'll give it away. But because I feel like what made the comics so great are the moments from things like Big Brother 16 with Zach again, where like Zach is doing and he's freaking out because he can't get it right, and like we can't see that in the episode because then we'll know immediately that, like, we can't see that with Haleigh because we'll know immediately that she lost, which honestly I don't care. Who cares about tension? I'd rather see Haleigh I'd rather see her go through the like, oh my god, I'm screwing this up, I'm gonna lose, because that's more compelling.
Usually you can show that, because if Kaycee even just messed up once, then you could edit it like, man, I messed up, I need to do it again. And then you've got Haleigh freaking out or whatever. And then at least you get some, I mean, I'm sure Haleigh freaked out. Yeah. I mean, she was doing it for 18 minutes. I'm sure she had to freak out like, oh my God, I've lost this. I can't do it. And that was one of the best moments of Big Brother 16. As Zach laying there on the ground afterwards, like he throws the thing and then he's laying on the thing and the camera pans out, that was great. I loved it. And it's too bad we didn't get to see some sort of big dramatic moment for Haleigh.
Yeah. So we got the comics here. Let's go through them a little bit. Angela's the Rathlete, because you get the wrath of Angela. She's an athlete. Get it?
Yeah, and apparently she told Haleigh after the fact that she told her about the pole vaulting, but in order to explain the comic. But why would she even need to explain anything? She's super fit and buff, and there was no pole in there, so like, wouldn't you just be like, yeah, I work out, I have abs?
I think she was just at that point just like, whatever, I'll just tell people about it.
Yeah, I mean, well, also it's like, who cares? But
yes, still Kaitlyn's was really good. The spirit guide.
Yeah, riding on Uncle or Grandpa Lou.
Yes, I feel like that might have been the best one. I'm not sure.
That was pretty funny. That was good.
JC is the Yatus.
Yeah, wasn't it? Am I just pronouncing it wrong? Wasn't it Yatus?
Yatus, whatever,
No, but Tyler's the one who had the whole segment on it, and he was pronouncing it like Yatus. The Yatus or whatever.
The whole point is that it's not a real word, I guess. I guess it doesn't matter.
Like, we can't really debate the pronunciation of a made-up word. But still, I was like, Tyler, this is your joke. This was your one funny segment. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like this one was uninspired. I feel like there's a lot better you could have done with Jay. Yatus doesn't really make sense as a superhero name.
No, and I feel like there were a lot of the comics this year that there were so many possible jokes, possible fun things to include, and a lot of them just didn't make any sense. And what happened this year?
Yes, Tyler's the life guardian. I thought that was all right.
Yeah, that one was okay. I
thought the artwork was really good for that one.
Yeah, with the little tornado thing or whatever, a sand tornado. That was a good one.
Rockstar is the rock czar.
I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Are they tied the hacker thing again? Like, they're really into Russians, maybe, I guess is the thing here.
I guess so.
I don't know what that has to do with Rockstar, but...
No, I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So we got Fessy is the Hamazonian.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. I mean, yeah, I liked the visual imagery of it, but it was like
just like Haleigh.
Yeah, it was so sad though. It's like it's really the one thing that he's known for is like the thing from the first episode, and it was that you were not known at all and you got a punishment, and that's all you're known for. But okay.
Yeah.
I think they could have done something funnier for Fessy. Like they could have done a big dumb puppet.
That would have been great, but I think they
might have given too much stuff away. But still, it like they didn't need to show anyone controlling it. They could have just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I wish they'd been able to do a big dumb puppet for Fessy because that would be perfect. But
that would have been really funny.
Yeah.
I always like when I know they shouldn't give away too much, but I always like when they hint a little bit at something. And then the house guests are all like, wait, what the heck does that mean? Why is it this? Why is it that? And I always feel like it's fun to see if the house guests take anything from each of these things. I mean, the only thing they could have taken from this one is the Winston one, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I do feel like Tyler's controlling the sand and then having somebody in like a prison behind him was a little mastermindy. But
yeah, although
nobody
they're
really
gonna be
caught
like,
on.
oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a lifeguard. Wow.
Tyler can save my life or
Yeah.
can guard my life any day.
Exactly.
Scottie really got slammed here. Scottie is snotty.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, that's the best they could come up with. Come on.
Like, he could have been love struck.
Yes.
He could have been Virgin King of
Exactly.
some sort.
I honestly, it's not even something that I even associate with Scottie at all, or think, like, was it just that they were like, wait, what can we do and what can we change? One letter. Okay, snotty. It's like, they just give up?
I think what might have happened here is that Scottie broke the rules and he swore on live television, and so they're gonna go pretty hard on him in the comics.
Ugh, gosh, if only it made sense, though. I feel like go hard on him, but make it sense of it. Come on.
They don't need to look. It rhymes. That's all the sense they need.
That's all they want, I guess.
We got Steve as Mr. Bad Wrench because he lied about being a mechanic.
Okay, I don't know. They couldn't have come up with anything else. I thought they were going to for sure do something about a bathtub, but I mean, that's more just like an outside joke.
Yeah, I don't think they knew about the bathtub. But I mean, they all knew that they like Scottie basically got confirmation that Steve was a cop because he saw the badge from the off the block interview. So they might as well have just been like, poorly disguised undercover cop, Mr. Bad Wrench. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, totally. So, I mean, it makes sense, but it would have been funny if they kind of threw in some sort of hint at him being a cop or something.
Yeah. Lance Davis in the chat says, Summer of Steve 2018. They should have done that. Steve at the beach. Summer Steve.
That would have been really funny.
Yeah. Brett was the beefcake. He's just like a big cake with Granny in the background.
Cake. Yeah, that one's kind of funny.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, like out of all of these, I liked that one.
Bayleigh was Queen Bee, which I just now realized. I was like, something is off about this. It's because of Brittany from Big Brother Canada. That messed it up for me. Brittany from Big Brother Canada is Queen Bee.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just, that one's a little unoriginal. I feel like they could have had a lot more in there for her. Winston come on. She's more memorable than that. And she's not known for just like being a queen.
Yeah, it is, you can do better. Winston was Twinston, which I don't think I get.
Didn't they used to think, all the house guests speculate that he has a twin in real life or whatever? And so I guess this just like is adding fuel to that fire, but why?
It wasn't that big of a deal.
Like also he's out of the house. It'd be funnier if it was like Brett being a twin or something. I don't know.
Yeah, why not like something of like bros? He was a big bro. They thought he was a doctor. He could have been Dr. Winston.
Winston. Something.
Twinston. Okay. Sam is the welder, which is very unoriginal.
That's just literally what she
job
is.
Title. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Swaggy is Swaggy Sea, as in SEA, the sea, the ocean, and he's like handing out T-shirts.
I think they could have done better than that.
Yeah.
I think they could have made more fun of the fact that he has his name everywhere and like he gives out T-shirts all the time. Like they could have done something funnier. I don't know.
Yes.
I just don't even see what Swaggy Sea has to do with anything. Like, why does the ocean have to do anything with it besides it just being a play on sea?
It's again just a name pun. That's what they got. Kaycee is of course the health nut, which it's kind of uninspired, but I get it. Like that's kind of her thing.
Yeah, that's kind of her thing. So that's fine.
Yeah.
I just honestly I feel like most of the years I'm surprised by the comics and I'm like, whoa, that's so funny, or that's, so clever. And this year I just feel like I wasn't really surprised by any of them. None of them really made me like chuckle or anything. It was kind of just like, okay, these are just them in picture form, but it wasn't as clever as it usually is, I don't think.
There were some good ones, but yeah. Rachel is the Dancesaur, which I did not get.
I don't get it at all. Couldn't they have done something about Las Vegas or something? I just feel like
she's like dressed as like Barney or something.
I don't know. I don't get it. Why?
Because she danced, I guess. Like,
she danced and she's a dinosaur.
She's awful sore at Brett on Twitter.
I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know. To set up the fact that they used to joke about her being old. I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know.
Oh, that's actually great. I don't think it was their logic, but I like it.
I don't know. I just like, I don't know. She's not old, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
Jeez. Whatever.
Yes, I believe that was all of them. So there we go. Sam, when Sam is competing, she says, I think Kaitlyn's the imposter, so I slapped the shit out of that one.
Oh my God. So ridiculous.
Sam almost did it on her first go, but she didn't see Winston. And then when she did it on her second try, she guessed correctly the right Winston one. So Sam would have had it on her first try if she had seen Winston's thing, assuming we saw it in the correct chronological order, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's really crazy. How did she not see him? She's just like, all right, cool, I'm done.
Too busy she just slapped Kaitlyn out of the spirit world, so she was still reeling from that.
She was, yeah, wow, okay. That would have been interesting if she had won.
Yeah. Haleigh got distracted by the Hamazonian, as Melissa did.
Yes, of course.
Her strategy was to get out on the course as quickly as possible, so she knew what to look for, but it did not work out for her.
Yeah, no, I always feel like you do better when you do what Kaycee did and actually just like study them for a little bit, like give yourself a minute to just look, because a lot of the times people just rush through it. But I did like that Sam called his loincloth his skirt. She was like, oh, he's wearing a brown skirt.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that they had to wait for production to reset the cutouts after every run, and I'm gonna guess that they did not stop the timer for that, which is why like Tyler, who got it on his second try, instead of it taking like 3 to 4 minutes for 2 tries, which you would think, given that Kaycee spent a lot of time studying and then it only took her 2 minutes total. You'd think at most taking 2 tries would take you 4 minutes, but instead it was something like 6.5. I'm gonna guess that that they had to kind of wait for it to reset. So
I feel like that's not cool.
Well,
they should stop the timer.
It rewards you for getting it correct the first time. They probably knew ahead of time that they'd have to wait for the reset.
Yeah, true. But I guess it doesn't. The only problem is that then it doesn't reward you for being super quick during the course. Like, say you take like 5 seconds to do it. Like, that's not gonna happen. But say you take like 5 seconds to do it during the course, then they have to reset. Then you take 5 seconds to do it your second time around, and you get it right. Then you won't win over someone who took like 25 seconds to do it their first time.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are very wrong numbers, but I'm just giving examples because I'm very bad at numbers.
Right. It rewards you for getting it correct on the first time, which is, I think, why we saw such a drastic difference in granted, this is all complete assumption based on the times that we saw and the edit that we got.
It doesn't make any sense why someone would take that long for just those questions. I mean, I don't know.
Right. Like, I mean, as far as like, because if Tyler's run played out the way that it did, then he would have went right back out and would have, I think, would have done it faster than 6 minutes and 30 seconds. And same with Brett and Angela. Like, I think they all did it on their second or third try. So I could be completely wrong. It's just the sense that I got, given the time differences here and like the fact that it took Haleigh like 19 minutes. Like, if she could just run back out immediately because the time stops, and so it's like I don't know, because they still get to like study the wall while they're resetting the things.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Did we go over Haleigh's comic?
Oh yeah, she was Slamlet.
Slamlet?
Yes, Hamlet.
What is even that?
She's like slamming people with I think books.
Oh. God, I just feel
Maybe
like they took their punishments and like
poetry.
we're like, this is what they're about. They had a punishment, right? It's like there's more to it than that. There's more nuances.
Well, what else would Haleigh have been? A bad hacker?
Yeah, I guess. No, I don't know. I feel like there's more to her than just reading that Hamlet book, but I can't think of it right now.
Well,
but
it's all,
there is something.
I also feel like it's kind of like their fault too, where like Kaycee really adopted the peanut thing, so now she's the health nut, and like Haleigh has been referencing the Hamlet stuff, in her speeches and stuff.
That's
so it's like
true.
you're creating your own character.
Yeah.
And in the slam poetry angle is not bad also. So anyway, there you go. Brett is really gonna smack talk a bit during his run, making fun of Kaitlyn some more, like, oh, my spirit guides, and also a little bit of I didn't even get his slam on Rachel, like no thanks, Dancesaur.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they were just like, say a funny thing about each person. And he's like, okay, and just kind of said it all. The funniest part was when he knocked over Winston.
Yeah. Lee Morton in the chat says Brett should have been El Cockroach.
Yeah, why wasn't he? He calls himself that all the time.
Yeah, it might be a DR thing.
Yeah.
All right, so he says nobody imposters my boy, and he falls down as he punches the Winston cutout, and he breaks it off, which was pretty nuts. But he gets it on his second go, which again, like, if he got it in a second go and he took 7 minutes and 30 seconds, it really just makes me think that the timer might not go up, but
yeah. Or it's just really strange editing.
Yes, it's true. So Tyler's going to ring in at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Brett, 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Kaycee comes in at 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Let's go!
Let's go.
Let's go. People are also talking about, Chris points out in the chat, Brett lost his shoe in the thing, which
Brett
is
was not having an easy time.
Bad omen for the double eviction veto.
The clown shoe.
Yeah, you don't want to be losing shoes. So Sam comes in at 15:48. They give her some pity claps. Angela 9:53, and Haleigh, can she do it? No, she cannot. 18 minutes and 56 seconds. Kaycee has won her third veto in a row. She's the veto. I don't know why they're not calling her this. She is truly the veto queen at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, Janelle has won more vetoes total, but having the veto streak for women certainly gets you at least veto princess, right?
Yeah, seriously. She's, I mean, 3 in a row. That's very impressive. And also with an HOH in between. You know what I mean? Like, there's an HOH in there, and it's honestly, I think it's a bad idea on her part. I just think it's too much, but it is impressive in its own right. So if she can get to the end, she can absolutely use that as, a big selling point.
Yeah. I kind of hope she wins the next one. It's 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Break the record.
Honestly.
She certainly could. If it's a double eviction veto, I think she's perfectly capable of winning that one. So Sam says this is the best thing that could have happened if she didn't win. She trusts Kaycee, and Haleigh feels embarrassed, stupid, and disappointed in herself.
Yeah, that's probably about what she should be feeling, unfortunately. 18 minutes, that's a really bad showing. I mean, you're the worst one there. You're worse than Sam.
Yeah. Then we're going to get Tyler talking to Kaycee. He's saying, JC really frustrating me. He's telling me to come for you and Angela, and it's making me nervous because he thinks he has Brett on board with him, and, Brett's not telling us about it. I'm not saying we should go for Brett, but, he's not telling us anything, so maybe we should be thinking about something. No, we're fine. Brett's level 6. We're all good.
He's like, nah, don't worry about it. We're good.
Yeah. Maybe he's not telling us so that we don't freak out.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. I feel like that's the opposite of what you would be doing if you didn't want someone to freak out. You'd go to them and be like, hey, I'm on your side. Don't worry.
Yes. So Tyler says, if that's true, that's some BS right there. That he's not telling us so we don't freak out. I don't know about that. But he says multiple times he wants to try to make a big move happen with this veto if he can, but this conversation, it gets shut down. Big move is not going to happen. Kaycee decides not to use the power veto. It wouldn't make any sense for her to change her own nominations. It's going to make Haleigh really sad. She's tired of fighting.
Yep. I mean, I feel like we get the same DRs from Haleigh at the end of each week for the past 3 weeks now. It's just I'm not giving up yet, but this is really tough. It sucks to be here with the eye rolls. Just every word you say, I'm fighting.
Just done with this. I'm just so tired. I just don't want to do this anymore.
I'm trying so hard.
I think the shot is reversed, so I've been looking in the wrong direction this whole time. She looks up and to the left of the screen, so it's actually this way. Sorry, guys.
Oh yeah, wait, am I?
You got the right one. You got it.
This way?
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable eye rolling this way.
Well, you gotta go with Haleigh's got the direction down. Yeah.
She knows what's going on. She knows how to eye roll.
We also, Sam says she doesn't think anyone realizes how much she holds back. I think they do. I think everyone does. She could verbally rip them to shreds, and she chooses not to.
Very, very impressive. That willpower.
Thank you so much, Sam, for not verbally ripping us all to shreds.
I feel like Sam could be scary. Real scary.
Tyler says, once Haleigh is gone, he'll only be left with his allies, and it'll be time to make some big moves. And that...
Oh, have we been hearing that from Tyler for this whole time? I feel like every second he gets, he's like, I'm going to make a big move soon.
Well, it's setting us up for the double eviction tomorrow night. So that is our episode. Let me know if you have any questions. You can tweet them at me at Armstrong Taran. If you have any questions about the episode, let me know in the chat. Or if you have any questions about the feeds, go ahead and tweet them at me, and we'll try to address them once we get to the spoiler section. Yeah, I mean, I think we really covered the episode all the way through. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, we did a good job. I don't really get to go on the morning updates, so this was our very own episode update.
Yeah.
In the evening.
Taran's episode updates.
Taran's episode updates. I like it.
Yeah. Yes, we will be getting to the spoilers soon, but I do want to see if there are any other questions before we get into the feeds. Of course, make sure you check out the live feed update tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, where I will update you on everything that happened today on the live feeds. Of course, tomorrow night we'll be recapping the double eviction live after the episode at 10:15 p.m. Eastern. Kayla wants to know, how many more times will Haleigh cry in the DR before she's evicted?
Many, many more times.
I think once, because she'll have time for one more before she's evicted in the double eviction, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I think we'll get the recap of the veto ceremony. We'll get her in the diary room crying again, and then they have to really speed it up and then send her off.
That's true. They'll probably want to end the first eviction, or right before the first eviction. They're going to want will they or won't they kind of thing. So you're probably not going to see her crying right before the eviction, because you'll want to have a segment where it's can she fight to stay in it? Are they changing their minds? What's going to happen? And then you'll see. Kayla's
saying 2, so we'll just have to see. Stacked wants to know, how disappointed are we with the LFC, with the comics? Why don't Melissa, do you have a rating out of 10 that you would give the comics as a whole?
I guess I'd give I probably would give a 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6.
There's some good ones in there, and it's fun to see them. Period. So I always look forward to it. But I feel if I'm comparing it to the other seasons, I feel the other seasons were more unique, more exciting, more unexpected.
Yeah, I think the concepts were probably a 4 or 5. The artwork, though, I thought was really fun. So that was, closer to a 7. So averaging out to maybe around a 6 for me. So, yeah, the graphics are great, says Mike. Stacked also wants to know, there was another question about JC. Trying to find who asked it, but I cannot find you. I'm sorry. Here it is. Broucher wants to know, do you think that JC can win America's favorite player after people saw that video? Do you think this is going to help JC with his case to win America's favorite? I think in my opinion, I think he might already be a front runner. I think that come finale night, assuming Julie is there, she's going to announce that top 3 vote getters are probably like Tyler, JC, and either Brett or Haleigh. And I think that JC's in there with a shot. So, and this certainly I think could help. I mean, it certainly made me feel for him, and it made me connect to him on a level that I hadn't before. So.
Yeah, I feel like those are for sure our front runners. Tyler, Haleigh, JC, and Brett. I feel like it's going to be one of those people. It's possible that Tyler wins it, so it's possible that our 3 contenders are Haleigh, JC, and Brett. I really strongly think that those are the only ones who could possibly get it at this point.
Yes. So Stack's question was, who do you think production wants to win America's favorite player? Probably Haleigh, in my eyes.
I would think, yeah.
I think she's had the least representative, true representative edit of anyone in the house.
I think they really like Haleigh a lot. They've never made Haleigh look stupid ever. They've made Haleigh look sympathetic and a really good competitor, and she's always sweet and nice and fun, and you feel for her in the diary rooms. And I feel like it's easier for production to have her win than for JC, considering that there might be some backlash if JC wins. So I think that production wants the easiest thing, which is just to have Haleigh win it.
Yeah, and I production hates JC. They try to punish him on the feeds all the time. I think JC is like a necessary evil for them, where it's like he makes it so easy to provide entertaining content that they have to use him, but they're very frustrated with him in terms of how much they like him. So I for as much content as JC gets, I don't think they want him to win. They just they're like, we can't not use this, especially when we don't have a lot of other content. So, and I also I don't think they're the biggest Tyler fans either. Because I don't think he always gives them what they want. He's another one where it's I feel like they think they have to use Tyler because he's so involved in what's happening. But beyond that, I do feel like Haleigh would be their pick if they had the choice.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get into some spoilers here. Unfortunately, again, I don't have any music for you. I'm sorry. No dancing, but Melissa will dance to no music.
I'll dance to nothing.
So here we are, spoilers. If you don't want to get into the spoilers, you can head out now. Like I said, live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, although you probably don't want to do any of that if you're avoiding tonight's spoilers. But we will be live tomorrow night after the double eviction, and we'll talk about everything that happens. Hopefully it'll be exciting. We'll have some fun, and It'll be a good time. So check that out. Of course, you can also check out the American Ninja Warrior podcast that I do with Lita. The season finale of that just ended, and also I finally got accepted as a Twitch partner on Twitch. So if you want to come check me out on Twitch, have a lot of fun on there. Taran Armstrong on Twitch. So yeah, see what all the fuss is about. Join the
Very
robot
exciting.
Army. Yeah. All right, here we go. Spoiler time. Time to get out if you don't want spoilers. We're doing spoilers right now. All right.
Right now.
There's really nothing to spoil. I mean,
a little bit, but we don't really know. We don't know for sure anything's gonna happen. So
yeah. Basically, you already have a good idea that Haleigh is the one we expect to leave tomorrow night by a unanimous vote. And then also, really, I think the only other thing that there is to reveal to you is that there has been some movement in terms of the plans for the double eviction. So, Melissa, do you want to tell us about this?
Yes. Well, it was a little interesting last night after we stopped the round table because Brett decided that it would be a really good idea to tell Tyler about the possibility of targeting Angela and Kaycee, which really was just not great at all, and not really great for me to see right after I bought 2 Brett stocks. I was like, what is happening now?
Oh, man.
If only he had done this sooner. And then I could have just sold all my Brett, put it all into someone else. I just feel like this was such a bad idea, such a bad call. I don't know why he thought this was a good idea. I honestly, and I've been feeling this way the whole season, that like everyone wants to tell Tyler everything. Everyone wants to, they feel like they can trust him. They feel like they can confide in him. And I don't know why, but he just has this like presence that makes people want to spill their guts to him or something. So Brett just thought, hey, what would be a great idea? Oh, to, fill this guy in on the plan to possibly evict his showmans. Like, Brett knows that they're in a showmans. Like, he knows that. And yet he still thought it'd be a good idea. I don't understand it, but that's that. And Tyler, of course, goes to tell Kaycee. I'm surprised they don't tell Angela right away. Of course, Casey's like, oh my God, Brett's gone. We're backdooring him. He's dead to us, essentially. And then I guess it was today they decided to tell Angela. And so now there's this whole plan, hashtag backdoor Brett, or whatever Angela, the hashtag Angela said. And now that's basically their plan for the double eviction, is to backdoor Brett.
Yeah. I think basically Brett felt like Brett's been dancing around the idea of making this move for a while, but the thing that's been holding him back is that he's scared to make the move and then have it fail, or even just make the move and then have Tyler and whoever's left mad at him and against him. So Brett, he's feeling the pressure of the double eviction coming up, and he feels like, all right, I need to try and see if Tyler is open to this so that I can make the move. But as he flirts around this idea, Tyler is like, okay, I'm hearing you out. And he gives Brett enough rope to hang himself. And he sets this trap. And in Tyler's mind, he's like, finally, he is giving me the ammunition I need to turn Kaycee against him. He's been trying to all week long, and Kaycee has been shutting him down time after time. No, Brett is loyal. Brett will be, level 6 to Final 4. This is what we're doing. And so Tyler is beaming with excitement. He goes to Kaycee. He's like, he finally has the ammunition. He says, I was right. What did I tell you? My suspicions have been confirmed. Brett is coming after you and Angela. Not only you and Angela, but you, because he already knows that JC and Sam are coming for Angela. So he's thinking, well, I might as well target Kaycee. Which Kaycee's like, oh, I can't believe him. And now Kaycee is pissed. She's pissed at Brett. And so they were all about it last night. And then, as you mentioned, Melissa, today they came together with Angela and they let her know. And Angela was like, I knew it. I woke up in the middle of the night last night. I was thinking Brett's going to betray us. I knew it. And so then they have a good old Brett bashing session. They don't like Brett anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy how the tides change so quickly. I was really feeling good about Brett, and I honestly, it feels like just yesterday that we were talking about how great it was that Brett was able to keep his mouth shut about these JC plans, and that like he wasn't going back to other people and talking about it. And because we were saying that was one of JC's biggest issues, was the fact that he just constantly harped on things and was telling things to the wrong person, like about Tyler and the showmance thing. He kept harping on Tyler for that. And then Brett comes along and doesn't share any of this information with anyone. And we're like, yes, this is great. He's keeping this information to himself. I mean, honestly, in this game, knowledge is power. Secrets are power. And he just blew it. He blew it right on the eve of the double eviction. There's no time for him to really change anyone's mind about anything. And his only hope really is to win HOH or veto.
Yeah, Brett really should have, gone by the old saying of, ask forgiveness and not permission, because asking permission has alerted Tyler and given him the ammunition he needed. Court in the chat says, Angela smelled that Brett was acting fishy.
She smelled the fish.
So right now, Tyler got the sense from Brett. He correctly got the sense from Brett that Brett doesn't really want to take this shot himself, that he would love for JC to do it for him. And so Tyler's idea to really solidify this and really dig Brett's grave is to try to convince Brett to throw the HOH in the double eviction. And in order to do this, he's going to good old Paul's methods from Big Brother 19. And he's saying, look, Brett, I am going to convince Angela to throw the HOH competition so that we can win. And then Angela definitely won't win and we'll be able to take our shot at Angela. So Brett is going to take that and be like, okay, so I don't have to win. If I don't have to worry about Angela winning, then I don't have to worry about winning. I don't have to take the shot myself, which means I can feel comfortable throwing the HOH. At which point, Tyler's saying, Angela, you win that thing. And either him or Angela will win. They'll put up Sam and JC. And then if they have the opportunity, they will backdoor Brett and send him home. So Brett, he's getting set up here.
Isn't it possible that Brett's not going to drop out of the competition unless he sees Angela do it first?
Yes, 100%. So that's the, one of the things about this. It's probably going to be some sort of question competition. So if it's like elimination style, then Brett may try to stay in the competition until Angela drops or fails or gets a question wrong, whatever it is. So it might not work in that regard. However, he may feel so confident that she's willing to throw the HOH that means that she won't come after him as early as this week, and that maybe he doesn't need to worry that much. However, I think that if he is the last remaining, if Sam and JC go out and Angela's still in it, I do think Brett will try to win the HOH. It just makes it a little less likely that he's going to win if he's willing to throw it under certain circumstances, especially if he ends up throwing it to somebody like Tyler, which is definitely possible because, of course, he would love it if Tyler took the shot at Angela. That would be perfect for him, but that's getting a little too greedy. That's flying a little too close to the sun, and I think he's going to pay for it if he does.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is going to be... I wasn't thinking that this was going to be a fun double eviction. I was honestly thinking like, okay, well, probably Sam's going to go out or something like that. I really thought that the likelihood was probably Sam or something boring. But now I feel like now there's actual stakes in this. And now I feel like the remaining level 6 trio, they're like, this is what we have to do. And we've got Brett and JC over here like, this is what we have to do. And so it's going to be interesting to see who gets to do what they want to do, who wins,
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Brett throws the HOH, which he could. And I guarantee you, if he loses it, he'll say that I think there's a good chance he'll say that he threw it because he's already considering it. I think either way, he's going to be pretty steaming after he gets out of the house. I threw that HOH, or I at least thought about throwing that HOH, and they stabbed me in the back. But I, like I said this morning on the update, I do feel like Brett, I think he is the kind of person that after he has some time to chill out a bit, will be like, you know what? I was going to stab them in the back, and it's fine. I'm level 6, I'm not going to see that. So I think that'll be the case as long as he doesn't see the trash talking that Tyler, Angela, and Kaycee have been doing about him. So there you go. That's all possibilities out there. Again, the way that Tyler and Angela are going to go about this is to backdoor Brett, which does open the door for Brett to win the veto and then use the veto, take JC down, and then force Tyler or Angela to put up either Angela or Kaycee. And then him and JC would have the votes to send Angela or Kaycee home. will Brett do that is another question that we have to ask ourselves. Well, first of all, Tyler wants to try and convince Brett to throw the veto, although there's a lot less incentive for Brett to throw the veto in that spot. And then even if he doesn't throw the veto, I feel like Tyler will be like, dude, no. And I feel like Brett might not have the nerve to go through with it if he feels like JC and Sam are already up on the block.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case, but I think that there are a few. It's interesting because I feel like there are a lot of various ways this could go, and I feel like usually going into a double eviction, you can kind of get a sense of what's going to happen. You can basically say, look, either this person or this person are going home. And in this situation, I don't feel that it's that cut and dry. I feel like there are so many different people that could go home depending on who wins what and who says what, who gets to who during that episode. I feel like if it's a situation where Brett could make a move, but he's not sure, and Tyler's like, don't do it. If JC could get to Brett, I could see him doing it, you know? So it really just depends who talks to who, what happens, and I'm very excited.
I will say this. I think there's a chance that it might depend on who's HOH, because I think that if Tyler is HOH and he's nominated JC and Sam, and then Brett wins the veto, Brett can go to Tyler and say, here we go, man. Here we go, bro. Time to take the shot. I use the veto. It's forced your hand. You now have to put Angela up on the block, and then JC and I will vote her out. And it's not even blood on your hands, man. It's on mine, and we're both in this. We take Angela out of the game, and then if Tyler says no, he goes, well, maybe too bad. Like maybe I'm going to do it anyway. And so I feel like Brett is a lot more likely to do it if Tyler is HOH. However, if Angela is HOH and she puts up JC and Sam and Brett wins the veto, I feel like Tyler will be like, dude, do not use it. She'll put me up. And then, you know, then you've exposed yourself. You either vote me out or you vote Sam out. Like you don't risk me in this game. I feel like Tyler's probably able to convince Brett to not use the veto at that point, because I think Brett is willing to believe that Kaycee and Angela are in fact closer than Tyler and Angela, and that Tyler would just replace JC with Tyler, or that Angela would just replace JC with Tyler, at which point, you know, that doesn't serve his purposes. So, you know, I think that may be the difference there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the HOH is really going to influence how this goes. I mean, obviously, but in this situation, I agree with you that they can control kind of what happens with the veto if Brett wins it. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this. I was kind of down on the double eviction coming this late, and because I was like, there's no drama to be had. It's going to be Sam. Like, that's the end of that. And now I feel like there really is stuff going on, and it's making for a really exciting couple days.
Yeah, you know, it's we had an exciting night last night. We had a pretty good day today on the feeds, and tomorrow will just be a lot of build-up, a lot of anticipation, a lot of trying to hide Brett and JC, thinking, all right, here we go. We're about to stab them in the back. Meanwhile, Tyler, Angela, and Kaycee, like, here we go, about to stab Brett in the back. It's
like West Side Story, you know, when they sing that song about before going to the Rumble, and you've got the two sides.
Yep. So, man, it really could go any way. I think that, you know, Brett has made a mistake, and it's given Tyler the advantage. And I think that, you know, I was saying as soon as last night that I felt like Angela was the most likely person to leave, given the current circumstances. However, I think that based on what's happened and Tyler's ability to maybe convince Brett to not try quite as hard in the HOH, and that Brett has expressed some amount of interest in potentially throwing that HOH, and the fact that Kaycee and Angela are definitely on board now to take the shot at Brett, I do feel like we might be in a situation where Brett is in fact the most likely person to go home. However, Angela is still quite up there. And not only is Angela up there, but I think Kaycee is a potential person to leave here if Angela wins the veto, or if Tyler wins the veto and decides then who do I save, Angela or Kaycee? Although at that point, never mind, that doesn't matter. I keep forgetting about that because then they control the votes. But if Angela wins the veto, then Kaycee is vulnerable, potentially.
But that's the thing. I feel like this is a unique situation where normally we're like, oh, anything can happen, but really, like, it's probably one or two things. Now I really do feel like this is a situation where anything can happen. And I will not be shocked if any of the people go home tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because basically, no matter who wins the HOH, we're still going to be incredibly, like, based on what happens in the veto, a ton could change. So we're not going to know what's going to happen until the veto plays out, at which point we will likely know what's going to happen. But I do think worst case scenario is Sam wins the HOH. I think it will be like, who does she put up? We don't really know. She talked a lot about how much she trusted Kaycee and Brett in this episode. We know how much she trusts Tyler, so maybe it would be JC and Angela on the block, and at that point they'd probably just vote JC out. That's probably the one spot where JC might go home, and that might just be an easy send out. But then we'd still have Brett warring with the rest of level 6, although he'd be alone in that, and that would be a little sad. But I do think that for the most part here, it's gonna be very interesting. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. We will be live after the double eviction. We'll have some fun. I'll probably go live on Twitch as well after the podcast to hang out and watch the feeds, because hopefully they'll be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very, very excited. Unfortunately, I will be on a international flight during the double eviction, but I plan on trying to buy internet or something because I cannot miss this. I'm so excited.
Don't spoil Melissa if she isn't able to watch it. We do have a question.
Spoil me, it's fine. I need to know.
Yeah. We do have a question from Eric on Twitter who wants to know about one very interesting scenario here. He wants to know, who does Tyler put up as a replacement if he wins the HOH and Brett wins the veto and does in fact take JC down? So this is assuming that Tyler goes through, he nominates JC and Sam, Brett wins the veto, and then he goes to Tyler and he says, let's use the veto, let's take out Angela. Tyler, assuming Tyler says, no, I would rather you don't do that. But then Brett says, doesn't matter, I'm using it anyway. Does Tyler at this point, does he put Angela up on the block knowing that he's essentially sending her home, or does he put Kaycee up on the block essentially knowing that he's sending her home? We know that he's talked about being willing to cut Angela. We know he's talked about potentially taking Kaycee to the end. However, he's also expressed a little bit of doubt about Kaycee in terms of her competition ability and maybe not wanting her in the end, although I feel like that's less strong than his talk about taking Angela out. However, we've talked about this before. We talked about this Sunday night. Is Tyler willing to stand up there on the double eviction and say, Angela, I'm essentially sending you home. I'm sorry. I'm choosing Kaycee over you. Who does he has to choose either Kaycee or Angela at that point. The chat is saying Angela. Do you agree?
That's so hard because I do think that he has a better chance of winning against Angela, but at the same time, I do think he might have a better chance of getting to the end with Kaycee. Kaycee's been really good at winning these competitions, and I feel like if I was Tyler, I would find that comforting to have, like, if you have to get rid of an ally and you end up with essentially what is kind of only one ally left. I guess he would still be on good terms with everyone else, but I think it would be good to have someone who could win a bunch of comps sitting alongside you. But at the same time, I don't know. That's a tough one. It's really hard to say. I feel like if I was Tyler in that position, if I was Tyler in that position, I'd be wanting to take Angela to the end. I'd be putting Kaycee up, but because she's way too big a competition. But I don't know if Tyler sees it that way. So I don't know.
It's tough. I mean, I think that because it's so on the spot that he hasn't thought about being in this situation, and he hasn't, like, in his head he plans on taking Kaycee, he plans on cutting Angela. I feel like if he had a lot of time to think about it, he'd be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But because he'll be put on the spot and he'll just say a name, I feel like his, like, the pre-planned stuff will be what he falls back on, and his instinct will be, Angela, I'm sorry. And Angela will be shocked, and it'll be crazy town.
I guess the one good thing about him putting Angela up is that Brett and JC will think, oh, okay, Tyler's followed through on the plan.
Right.
Like, he's back on our side. Whereas if he chooses to put Kaycee up, then they'll be like, wow, he totally went against what we wanted. We told him we wanted Angela out. Like, what the heck? And then he really has only Kaycee left. So I think in that situation, it might be better to just keep their trust, keep them thinking that he's been cool with the plan the whole time, and just send Angela out the door.
Yes. And so one final thought on this is that let's say they do succeed and they take Brett out of the game. They should be doing as much work on jury management with Brett as possible, because I think Brett will be the single most influential person on that jury, because he is going to be the person that goes into the jury house finally with all of the information, or at least a fair amount of it. And if he goes in there holding a grudge against Angela for betraying him and sending him home, or against Kaycee, or against Tyler, and if he prefers one over any of the others, then he has a lot of leeway to be like, no, actually, Tyler was just dragged along by Angela. Or, you know what? Tyler was the mastermind behind everything. Or, you know what? Kaycee is the best player here. And really, the Faute has no choice but to believe what he's saying, even if they don't trust him very much. Like, he's the only source of real information that they'll have, I think, until the end of the game. So it's how Brett leaves the game and who treats him in what way is going to be very, very important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you always hear like, oh, the jury foreperson has the influence. In this situation, I do agree that it's the first level 6 person, the jury, the level 6 foreperson. I don't know, because they're the only one who knows what happened. Everyone else is like, this is bizarre. We all got picked off one by one by this group of people that aren't working together. But once you get someone in there that's like, hey, we were all working together, you guys just didn't know. Then that, I feel like, changes the dynamic of the jury house for sure. So you don't want that first level 6 person to be pissed off at you. You want them to, go in there singing your praises about how you were part of this like amazing alliance, and you look what you've done. So yeah, they really should be doing some good jury management on him, and I'm not quite seeing that.
Yeah. So here we go, man. Lots to think about before this double eviction. I'm pretty excited about it. So again, make sure you tune in tomorrow night. We will be talking about this hopefully crazy double eviction that sets us up for what will hopefully be a nice fun end run for such a great season. So thank you to everyone that hung out with us tonight. Thank you to Ken Clark for hanging out with us as well, and sending the good message to Kaycee. Anything else that you want to talk about here, Melissa?
Nope, just that I'm really looking forward to tomorrow.
All right, so there we go. That's our Wednesday night episode. Thank you guys for joining me once again. Tomorrow night we'll be live. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. All of that great stuff. And you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Armstrong Taran. Melissa is at It's Melissa with 3 A's. 3 A's at the end. It's Melissa. Yes. Melissa with 3 A's. And that's all we've got for you. So thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time.